Welcome everybody to the surrender@20.net Ionia tournament here. I'm really excited to be here. I didn't mute my stream, so I was like, whoa, why am I hearing myself? So now I have it all set up. I'm not going to be in the champ select. I'm just going to be watching from stream, but I'm joined here with the legendary Scarizard, who will be the casting this with me. How excited are you to be here?
I am mildly excited. I was going to be more excited until you introduced it that way. And I was like, well, I think I'm okay.
Well, you got to top your legendary status in being
I love casting.
I
love being, here to kind of check out the community games. We see really quickly here a Rise band coming out on the side of these sad fellows over here, specifically because Uncle Sam's Cabin plays 100% Rise all of the time, 2,000 ranked games, 918 of those on that champion. So that's got to be a quick ban for them.
Yeah, no doubt there. And you were saying earlier that you talked to him. He said he's been banned out from Rise pretty much throughout the tournament. That's his go-to champion. And nobody wants to give him
every single game their team has played. Which, I mean, you got to do it when you know someone plays a champion that much. It doesn't even matter the strength of the specific champion in question. It's just someone who can be so comfortable on the ups and the downs of that champion that letting them have it is just not smart if you don't have to. So here we have Thresh being hovered over here. Jace is available, so if anyone here plays a really good Jace, I would imagine that to be a very quick pickup for the Squirtle squad here.
Yeah, they went with the first pick on Thresh. Now, the last two picks, Jace, you said, being a very potent champion, and a lot of Jace bans we saw actually last night. Nobody really wanted to see him on the table at all. We saw quite a few Zac bans as well, which we saw tonight. But if they don't play Jace, first picking Thresh might be a huge advantage. They can get Jace and Thresh. I think Thresh has a lot larger impact, even into the late game, than Jace has. But Jace is still a great
champion. Lock in.
There's the Jace.
And there's Sejuani. That's actually how you pronounce it if you sit in the live design area, is Sejuani. And it looks like it's going to be taken. Really, really powerful champion, especially after she got that rework. And that is the lock-in for Sejuani. So we have one of the three sisters of the Freljord, along with the Defender of Tomorrow on the Squirtle squad.
Yeah, I really like the rework to her ultimate, where even if you're not in range to actually land the stun, you still get an AoE slow from that ultimate, which makes a big difference if you're looking to have a large engagement, like you're pushing to chase down, you want a team fight, a 2-0, and then you want to grab the rest of them, because you caught somebody out and you can actually continue to chase. But Nunu, I was about to say, was not banned, and he is going to be scooped up on blue side here along with Varus, and undoubtedly we'll see a Nunu jungle. He's still really strong, even with the small adjustments they did to his consume to reduce it to be a little bit less than smite, so he couldn't out-consume somebody's smite at early levels. He still is really, really strong, getting those buffs from just eating the jungle and ingesting them into power.
Yeah, so bottom lane coming out for the Squirtle squad. With a Thresh pickup, it's very easy to take your AD carry early because you already know, one part of that bottom lane, so it's fine to take the other part and not give away too much information. It seems like they're going to leave one of their solo lanes for last. Jace can be both a mid and top lane pick, depending on how Squirtle's going to play it. And here is a Talon. Uncle Sam, please don't do this to me. I love Talon, and if he's just hovering over it to toy with my heart, I'm gonna be very sad.
That's what happens when you have a personal investment into this game. Someone is always going to take advantage of that. Our friend Vanity Crisis knows that very well.
Yeah, it would be a good pickup because both Nami and Ashe are very susceptible to Talon ganks, and Jace as well, if you can avoid getting poked, can kind of be blown up by Talon. Talon does a considerable amount of AoE damage. Now with the Kennen ultimate and Nunu's Absolute Zero, it feels like that's going to be what they're going for. Really solid kind of AoE focused team composition coming out of LCW, and here's Vladimir actually kind of sealing the Combos Wombos in Los Combos Wombos, their team name.
Yeah, the Thresh box into an Absolute Zero, the amplified damage from Vlad, and then Talon assassinating somebody and doing a ton of AoE damage while he stealths through the whole fight. And Rake, I mean, it's not a 100% AoE ability, but it's a frontal cone that does massive damage and slows them all as well.
Yeah, and if you get onto someone with the silence and then immediately use your ultimate, you can like use the stealth and movement speed to reposition to get the maximum effectiveness out of Rake. Rumble is being hovered over here, which is a really strong counterpick to Vladimir, which I think would signal a mid lane Jace. I'm not familiar enough with the players on the Squirtle Squad to know who's going to be playing which, but if they go with the Rumble, it could mean a lot of trouble for the LCW.
Yeah, so they might go with the Rumble pick. He synergizes well because his ultimate is just versatile. I mean, it's got range, it's got slow, it does a good amount of damage. The mechanics of it are difficult to use, but I'm sure if he's picking Rumble, he has a good idea on how to lay that fiery trail to best suit his team. And it's always scary when you have a combination of a long-range Ash Arrow with the Sejuani ultimate. I mean, those two ultimates together can be devastating. And we're going to throw, a tidal wave on top of that and her bubble. Their chain CC is really strong just between those three champions. So a bot lane gank at level 6 is going to be very formidable. I mean, even a Thresh and a Varus aren't going to be able to disengage the way they want to if they get comboed out the right way.
Yeah, especially because of just the massive cast range on Equalizer is just so insane that if you get that perfect Ash Arrow, sort of in the later game, if you get about a mid-range Ash Arrow to kind of stun someone for 1.5 seconds, kind of across a lane, Rumble will be able to follow up almost without having to close any distance. And then you have that, like you were saying, with the tidal wave, and then following up with Glacial Prison from Sejuani is very, very powerful. But I think what is very important to understand is LCW has Nunu. Nunu is an incredibly powerful counter jungler. Someone that has been really, really kind of a solo queue terror. And if you combine that with the early game of a character like Thresh, I think if they can get into Sejuani's jungle and really shut her down and propel Talon past that mid game, I think you can see them starting to break down the individual pieces of the sort of catch comp that the Squirtle Squad has.
Yeah, we'll see how it's going to play out because there's a lot of execution that comes down. And when it really boils down to it, especially in games like these, your execution has to be clutch in order to pull off, the lost combos, wombos, to trade it all together and make it happen is easy to see on paper, but to really lay it down in the middle of a team fight, when everybody's using their abilities such as Flash and things like that, it is it's not the easiest thing to do.
So we're going to be getting into the game here in about a minute and a half, and I wanted to ask your opinion. How do you feel like the specific lanes are going to go? We've been kind of talking about the team fights and how those are going to play out, but what are your opinions on those lane matchups?
Well, I'm going to be honest. So if it goes with a mid lane Jace versus Talon and a top lane Rumble versus Vladimir, which is the typical roles that you'd see them kind of fall into with a champ select like this, I mean, we know that the Rumble's going to do well versus Vladimir. But the Talon versus Jace, I don't think I've ever actually really seen a matchup like that. And now they both kind of have really good abilities to exchange damage. I mean, with a blinking silence, a rake, and an on attack damage versus a knockback, a move speed, and a lot of poke, as long as Talon is able to avoid those accelerated shock blasts, then he should be able to exchange well in that lane. Because when he goes into silence, he's already going to lay all of his damage down, so even if the hammer form knockback comes out, he's still already laid down more damage than Jace is going to be able to return.
Yeah, avoiding those accelerated shock blasts is kind of a tall order. They move very quick and they do quite a bit of damage, so it's really going to be on Sheedy to see if he can, kind of move those the right way. What I'm really worried about is Sad Justice on Rumble. Typically a lane that makes it incredibly difficult for Vladimir to interact. A lot of his abilities kind of have a short range, anywhere between 600 and 700, and Flame Spitter goes about the same range. It's kind of an overlap there. So anytime Vlad wants to move up, Rumble just gets to put on that scrap shield, start the Flame Spitter, And if ever he blows Sanguine Pool, it is just going to be a world of pain for that Vladimir. But if he can make it on later, I think there is enough ability to kind of outplay him, with the very, very low cooldowns on Vladimir and really just hyper sustain in a 1v1 situation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because they can really change this. I mean, we didn't get a chance to look at the rune pages, but that can actually have a big effect on the early game to see if Vlad goes very heavy in the MR, they could really get in trouble if there's some crafty lane swapping or something like that coming down. Now, Sejuani and Nunu are both predominantly AP damage junglers. I mean, Nunu actually doesn't do a whole lot of damage when he comes into a lane to gank, but his utility is just obscene. I mean, he's able to speed people up, slow them down. You can't try to kill him because he's just going to grab one of those minions and chomp back a quarter of his health. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do go really heavy MR early in this game with the runes on Vladimir. That might be able to kind of save him out to that mid game where he gets very potent and can combo up abilities. Yeah,
Varus taking Cleanse here is very, very smart, especially against an Ashe Sejuani lane. Taking, if you get the Glacial Prison along with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, like getting caught into that combo, it can be very deadly. So the Cleanse is a good thing. I'm a little worried about the Ghost on Vladimir. It's very good for him when he's ahead. But if he ends up being behind, can be something where you'll wish you could have flashed that Glacial Prison. Like Rumble and Sejuani bring a lot of slows, which can a lot of times counteract the Ghost. So it'll be very interesting how that's moving. The teams are in the game. They start moving up. We have quite a bit of consumables on the side of LCW with Thresh, and it looks like they're going for an invade. Picking Nunu kind of lets you know, all right, they're going to try something at level 1.
Yeah, I mean, Nunu has such a great presence at level 1 in the jungle that you have to defensively ward and position yourself at the buffs to make sure that he's just not walking into your jungle and grabbing a free level 1 red buff, because he can solo it without any help from his teammates, and it looks like they might actually sneak around the Tri-Brush area and go for that red buff steal, because of the fact that they actually warded the bottom side of the red brush, which isn't going to see anybody right now. So yeah. Uncle Sam's cabin is leading the charge through these bushes, and they're really looking for some of the early, but everybody's hanging out a blue buff, just being very defensive. Yeah. So they're going to get a free red here.
Yeah, Pigs are going out onto the side of Squirtle Squad. They think they know where Nunu is. They have wards, and now Thresh will just strip the ward. They do know that they plan to be in that red area. A little worried about Squirtle Squad's positioning here. They weren't quite as reactive as they needed to be. Ashe and Nami going down. Both bottom lanes are leaving, and now Uncle Sam on Talon is leaving as well. This could be a 3-on-2. It's going to be very dangerous if Nunu decides to stay. They're going to see Talon coming back. And it looks like, Vladimir's going to come taking some damage.
It looks like they want to exchange a lot here, and there is the Ghost coming out. Ignite came down on top of him. Jace is flashing in, but not able to pick up onto Vladimir, who's the low one right here. A great raid coming across. Uncle Sam's cabin might be in a little bit of trouble. There's another flash from Sejuani, forcing the flash out of Talon. And it looks like it's just going to be summoners for summoners right there. I mean, the Ignite blown for the Ghost, the flash for flash. Really not much happening right there, except for the fact that Vlad will have to go back to the fountain to heal, as Rumble will actually get some free experience in this top lane.
Yeah, really dangerous for the Rumble to get, even level 2 on a Vladimir. Oh, a nice Aqua Prism comes out, but it's just going to be some pretty intense harass damage as Ashe manages to use the volley through the minions here. But I think we have to look at who really comes out ahead on that level 1, and I have to say that I'm leaning towards LCW coming out ahead. Talon's flash is not necessarily as important, because Sejuani is going to need level 6 to get the most substantial ganks off. Sejuani doesn't mind losing her flash for just about the same reason. She really wants flash to combo with... Oh, the hook goes out. A lot of damage going on to this Varus. Has not used Cleanse yet and elects not to save it for some crowd control later on. He's just going to hit those minions and try and sustain up. But I think what it really comes down to is Jace not having flash against Nunu. Nunu is someone that if Jace is not the furthest back in his lane and can get hit with an Ice Blast as well as a Cutthroat from Talon and Silence, can really just mean the end for that character. Another Aqua Prison, Shadows is a beast on this Nami right now.
Yeah, Varus is eating each one of those prisms and just hanging out in them. And it's a worst time to eat him as well, because that early lane from Ashe, with her crit and volley damage, is when she's most potent in lane. She starts to fall off between 4 and 6, and at level 6 you just have to worry about this CC train being run on you and taking you down. So she's going to fall off a little bit in damage, where Varus will start to scale up a little bit better with a Blighted Cliver, his Hail of Arrows. But there's another Aqua Prism, and they're getting more and more harassed.
Bubble rate here. Really a lot of trouble with this Varus. He's just trying to hit up a lot of sustain from that Doran's Blade, but keeps taking her ass out of that bubble. That bubble has a base damage of 80 at level 1. It's not really messing around, but up at the top lane, we saw a little bit of just Rumble harassing down Vladimir. Not even moving with the Flame Spitter. He just saw Vlad wanted to come up with some minions and just decided to turn on the Flame Spitter. And there you are, the level 4 advantage. He has about a half level's worth of experience on that Vladimir, and is going to be kind of using him to really throw his weight around. Hook onto Ashe. There's going to be the play and everything, and there's 5 for 5 on the Aqua Prisons for this Nami, saving Ashe's life.
Yeah, she actually popped Barrier right there, which wasn't needed because the Aqua Prism did land. It was better safe than sorry in that position right there. I mean, she did have Flash as well, and she would have had to use both if the Aqua Prism didn't land, but ooh, a good chunk from that arrow onto Sad Shadows, who is going to be very sad if catches another one. I mean, about 100 HP right now. There's 200. She has a little bit of a heal there, a little title love to herself. And it looks like they're going to fall back a little bit because Varus is very low, and they might go for double golems? Are they going to go right back straight for the golems? Try to get a little more experience in there.
Really, Nami is a very powerful support if you pair her with a kill lane, actually. She has sustain, but it's very offensive sustain, and can kind of use it to make some aggressive plays. Thresh and Varus both really lane-dominant characters, so for Ashe to only be 4 CS behind if he's really pushed on is not super terrible. We have Boardman on Nunu coming up into the top lane, only has his red buff. I feel like nothing's really going to happen here. It's kind of hard. Oh, again coming out of the mid lane. And a really good cutthroat to try and block it.
Oh, there's the Ignite. Can they get the last auto attack? They're going to fall back on this one. So kind of Sad Shady is just going to be like, not worth the dive.
Yeah. His Thundering Blow level 1 does not do that much damage. It does not have a base value, and just does a miniature portion of their maximum health, which not many people have at this rank. So sometimes doing almost 20 damage to a target. So really hitting him away right there didn't give him kind of the execute you see from some Jace's that ability. Another thing is, Jace got his Tear of the Goddess early. Sending Uncle Sam home is going to be good to stack that up, but it didn't give him the damage he needed to gank. Also, a really good play on Talon using Cutthroat on the approach of the enemy jungler to kind of get him away from a lot of that damage.
Yeah, now they're both going to hit 6 in this mid lane. Talon is shortly behind. And level 6 on Jace, not that formidable, whereas level 6 on Talon opens up a whole lot of kill potential. They're both going to have their flash up. They're coming up right now after burning it and that level 1 engagement. So Jace will be safe from a gank, but if Talon can get him to use that flash, it should be very easy to pick up a kill on Jace the next time he pushes the lane. And they were unable to capitalize on Talon not having a flash because, like you said earlier, Sejuani's ganks aren't that potent until level 6.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of, missed opportunities, I want to look at the CS between... Oh, never mind. There's a hook going out. Another hook. That's 6 for 6 on the Aqua Prisons here. Both exhausts go out onto both carries, and Nami backs off, almost dying, but will probably be able to sustain up more pressure onto this bottom lane for LCW. But as I was saying, Nunu does not have a significant advantage over Sejuani. They're kind of going at the same pace, and I feel like if you aren't able to abuse Nunu's consume and amazing objective control, then Sejuani is just going to out-team fight them whenever possible. So that's something to really keep track of and watch as it's going, where just both junglers are even, where Nunu very much wants to be ahead. Jace actually heading down to this bottom lane to see if he can get a gank off, but they spotted him with Uncle Sam's really good ward there in the Banana Brush.
Yeah, and they actually pinged where the ward was, realizing as soon as the bottom lane went back, they knew that he had crossed the ward at that point. So they even know the ward is there because they pinged it twice. Now we see an engagement mid. Uncle Sam's cabin taking the brunt of the damage on that one, and he's going to have to back as Sam Shady is probably now going to push the lane and might go back and buy himself. He just went back to buy, so he might just try to push this lane and sacrifice some experience or grab the blue buff from Sejuani right here.
Yeah, that's kind of just how laning phases for Talons are going to go. His laning phase is certainly not up to par to catch up with the other youngins building their BF swords, but his late game and mid game teamfight potential is fantastic. And if you can really just wait to that level, then everything will be okay. We see Sejuani setting up for a gank in the bottom lane here, really trying to combo Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but it feels like LCW's bottom lane is kind of sniffing it out and figures that they want to go back now. Really good Shock Blast from Jace, seeing Nunu on that ward and letting him know that he knows he's there. So junglers going back to the jungle, bottom lanes doing their golems and generally farming. We're almost at 10 minutes and there's no first blood here.
Yeah, it's a very slow-paced game, but we do have 1,000 gold lead right now for blue side. They're doing a little bit better job of farming when it comes down to lanes. I mean, Vladimir actually coming way ahead of Rumble right now by almost 20 CS, which is the biggest difference on the map, as well as Varus, who's been last hitting. Even though he eats every Aqua Prism like a bubble boy, he's still able to gain 30 CS, and some of those are double golems.
Oh, so now the all-in from Rumble. 30. Drops the equalizer and then just kind of backs off. How very pleasant of him. That's good to know. I was going to say, Rumble is a character that is kind of difficult to farm with. Flamespitter does do reduced damage to minions. So this Vladimir is playing the matchup very well, pushing Rumble up so much by stacking Tides of Blood. Very aggressive play if you don't think your Sejuani is going to be there to kind of fight back. And it's really just been pushing him underneath the tower. Rumble has a really difficult time last hitting. And there we see in the top lane him just kind of stacking up Tides of Blood before just using those abilities, not having to fight Rumble at all. And now with Rumble buying a Negatron Cloak, Rejuvenation Bead, and a Health Crystal, making it very difficult for him to really do much of anything against him, just kind of relying on those base damages and base damages only. Rumble's actually maxed his Scrap Shield. I wonder why he just kind of turned away. Rumble, for some reason, very afraid of this Vladimir right now.
Big gank in mid lane. There is the Ash Arrow. It's going to land. The wave is going to be behind Talon. He's going to be in a rough spot right here. They're going to burn all their ultimates, take down that first blood, and it's about time. It was a 4-man gank mid. That poor Talon didn't have a chance. The arrow actually landed while he was in stealth, and Jace was way behind him just to make sure that if he did escape the arrow, that he would still die. Wasn't able to flash it. He thought that he could stealth and get away from the arrow, and this might cue a dragon. They just pink warded it. They have 4 people bottom, but I don't think they're going to commit to it. They were looking for a catch right here because they do have to battle versus Smite and Consume, and then a Nunu just flashing out of the pit after he steals that free dragon. So they're going to fall back from that as Rumble continues to push top and has really pulled a very solid lead on the Rumble right now, who we thought was going to take this lane.
Oh, that's going to be some pulled pork with the Thresh onto the Sejuani. 7 out of 7 Aqua Prisms that we've seen. That pig's just going to walk out of there. But I have to wonder if it was the right play to not force the dragon with a numbers advantage. They did have 3 out of the 4, if you can really call Jace's an ultimates used on that gank for mid lane. And one thing I want to point out about how that went down was Uncle Sam had the reaction speed to use Shadow Assault to stealth, but not to press his flash, which I think was kind of something that we saw out of him in the end there. He's been really really safe with that flash, even in the beginning, only flashing at the very last moment. And here there's the gank coming out, throws the damage out, gets the flash out of Jace, and he might go down to the bleed. Comes down the last couple of ticks, and it looks like he's safe. Yeah, really good gank out of them, but not enough damage to really close it out.
The Sejuani play at the Baron, she went with the Moby Boots, didn't really have anything but a Spirit Stone, and she's just kind of leading her team. She's on a boar, and she's being very boring. along with the rest of her team, and everybody's playing so safe in this quarterfinals game. The games we saw last night were crazy exciting, ending before 20 minutes one of the games. It was just, and it wasn't completely one-sided either. We hit 10 minutes, and it was like a 3-man dive top, a 3-man dive bottom, and both outer turrets going down at 4 minutes 30 seconds. It was crazy to see. There's the Ash Arrow in the bottom lane. It's going to be a flash and cleanse out of Varus. The box is down, and that Aqua Prism is not going to land when Sejuani's there. So they tried to get the combo out, but a great reaction time from Varus, using that cleanse and both summoners to get himself safe.
Yeah, Sejuani's Glacial Prison kind of going a little bit to the right side there, not really filling out the rest of their combo, but still going to be a lot of summoner spells blown for the opposing bottom lane. Oh, a hook onto Sejuani, a brave man as Nunu comes in, and a 3-man Aqua Prison. This support is really good at Na'Vi.
Yeah, Sad Shadow's MVP, putting everybody in bubbles all day long. I mean, I think we've only seen, what, one Aqua Prism miss, really, so far? And that is incredible.
We're like
if that
8
was
out of 9.
This game would be over.
Yeah, I know.
There's another hook on Sejuani in the fight. Exhaust is down. Varus ult is down. Jace coming in with no flash is going to take a lot of damage. It might have been a big mistake getting in here. Can Uncle Sam's
trying to come in.
Get in here for some damage. There's one kill going to Thresh, and it's sad. Ooh, sad Saragon is going to flash out. Might live through this. It'd be a really, really tough dive right here without the Talon ultimate to get out of there. But they're going to grab the blue buff. They probably fall back and grab the dragon because they know everybody's going to go back. And meanwhile, top lane, Vladimir, the ult for ult. The pool is down. Sad Justice. Will the last tick get him? Vladimir, Cripple taking that kill down. A really great play and clearly calculated. Ready to pool. And that is going to put blue side in a huge lead right now.
Yeah, that was really just, it was very sad. Sad Justice just barely missed the equalizer on top of Vladimir. Only one more tick of damage probably would have gotten the kill there, but he has no damage items as it stands, and this Vladimir is the highest level in the game, almost at the highest farm in the game, and is really ready to try and snowball out that top lane. Split push Vladimir is very difficult to deal with, especially with Sejuani and Rumble kind of being a lower level compared to him. I have to wonder, if Rumble had more points in Flame Spitter, even if he would have been able to turn that around, or had even bought a little bit more of aggressive items rather than defensive ones, kind of only wanted to go in with that Sorcerer's Shoes. But we see Talon picking up the Tiamat. There's something a lot of people might not know about Tiamat. Taking any action while in Talon's Shadow Assault breaks the Shadow Assault and retracts it, but the ability itself has a 1-second cooldown for reactivation before you can close it. Whereas if you start your ultimate and then hit Tiamat, your ultimate will immediately close, thus increasing the amount of burst damage you can get in within a short window.
So it's basically forcing the blades to come back in and getting an instant burst, along with the extra damage from the Tiamat itself. I mean, if he goes Ravenous Hydra with this, that's only going to increase the amount of AoE damage that he's going to be doing. We see Sejuani still counter-jungling, and we've seen a lot of counter-jungling from Sejuani and not as much from Nunu, but Nunu able to pick up the kills, the assist down bottom lane, and able to clear out the top side of jungle with Sejuani is counter-jungling the bottom side. So it's really weird to see a Sejuani this brazen, and only level 8. Ooh. And Nunu's going to realize that the arrow is going to miss down bottom. Yeah. Sad Shadows is going to go down right here, grab the lantern, and get out for a free kill. Sejuani's there. Does she have the damage to take down Varus? No, she does not.
Man, perfect death sentence.
Oh my goodness, and now everybody's coming in. This is going to be a bad news bears for red side, and that is going to be a 4-0 exchange. And meanwhile, top lane, they're still pushing super hard because Vladimir has control over Rumble, and this is going to be very difficult to come back from. 6-1, 2 towers to 0, and almost 7,000 gold ahead. That's
really the gold advantage kind of coming to work for them. If the arrow had hit, it might have been a different story, but that's kind of one of those things where the gold advantage and item advantage on Varus really let him stay in much longer than he needed to. Right, he just decided, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to 2v1. Thresh was so far away, and then just ride out the Dark Passage in style. But really slick death sentence on, from Thresh. kind of taking out the Sejuani and keeping her from finishing off that kill, really. Vladimir in the top lane bullying out Rumble on those golems. Fun fact, those are Renekton's golems, even in games that he isn't in. Just kind of to describe the whole tactic of like starving someone from experience even in their own jungle. That's kind of what we refer to them as.
And now to put it in perspective, Vladimir is so far ahead that he could buy a full Void Staff over Rumble right now. That is the difference in gold between the two top laners here. And they haven't had much love in the gank department. I mean, Nunu came up top, really didn't do anything. Sejuani glanced at it and didn't really, make anything happen because the Ghost was back up from Vladimir. They're going to see him coming into this mid lane, and they're going to have a good team to really assault onto this tower right here. They're going to try to catch up Vlad. There's the Ash Arrow. Lots of damage coming down. He's going to be able to get the pool off. Will they be able to finish him?
Grab the lantern.
Grab the lantern, but he's going to die to Ash's auto attacks. This is going to be a full team fight. The tidal wave coming down, and Rumble getting exhausted. He's going to get hooked back away from this tower, and it's going to be a 1-0 exchange. No, Jace is coming in. He wants more. The disengagement, though, from the Varus ultimate, that chain of corruption, kind of slowing the whole team down, and Jace didn't want to go in all alone. But, a little glimmer of hope from the red side that if they lay down the wards and catch Vlad out before he can do anything. No Ignite, no Ghost, no Tides of Blood, like nothing.
Amazing.
And that fresh hook, my goodness. That poor fish lady. I mean, she's not...
Sejuani kind of throwing a glitchful prison there at the very end to see if she could save her teammate, but kind of a questionable decision to use it then and not earlier when the enemy was grouped up. Rumble landed a really good equalizer after the pretty strong pick onto Vladimir, getting quite a few members of the team locked in. Uncle Sam going in incredibly aggressive, misses his rake. That's not where you parked your car. And just now it kind of has to awkwardly back out. Nunu eating a minion. Blew his flash to go for that kill, actually. Had Ignite up within seconds. Really one of those things where I think he saw the opportunity correctly, but just didn't execute. Perhaps got a little too excited and let Jace live there.
Yeah, he was sitting right on a lantern, and it looked like after it didn't get the kill, he was like, oh, I'm going to lantern, and Thresh had just tethered it back to himself, so he's like, oh, Nunu, I'm glad your snowballs are here, and your big furry face, because I do not want to be in this position right now. They did get the tower out of it, so all the outer turrets are down in the, 5th tower of the game, and they finally pushed in on that mid lane, which Jace was holding off really well with those shock blasts, clearing waves. But, now it's going to be a team game at 21 minutes. And, we have a almost 10,000 gold lead right now. And that is going to be very difficult for the sad team to deal with. I mean, the item difference means that they have to catch somebody out like they did with Vlad. But then they need to capitalize on more kills than just one.
Another hook lands the flay of Celius to pick him over the wall. A good Aqua and a really good equalizer coming out of the team. A lot of ultimates being blown. Nami's getting taken out by that chain of corruption. Oh, but here comes Talon. Uses... Oh, is it going to be the Penta? Oh, man. Quadra kill for this Varus right now.
Oh, my
the Penta with a max range piercing arrow. This guy has some skills for sure. Talon, they won that fight 5v4. Talon wasn't even in the fight, and he's a lot of their gold advantage. I mean, he bought a Bloodthirster off the shelf with some gold that he had built up. And this is really kind of, a lot of that also comes from Vladimir, too. This is like the first big team fight that he's been involved in, as his only other interaction has been split pushing or dying to the Ash Arrow there. And you can see how much that item advantage really helped Varus clean it up. That passive, man, 40% attack speed throughout the entire fight, really, really powerful.
Yeah, he was just mopping them up, and that is, right there, that just shows the gold difference. I mean, 10,000 gold means that you can 4v5 as long as you execute perfectly, and they're really not showing any, they're not faltering at all when it comes to grouping up and displaying a good team fight. Like, even when Vladimir was caught out, they did a great job disengaging, protecting their teammates, and they even grabbed a kill off that engagement prior at the mid turret when Thresh landed another hook. I mean, he's been right on par with those hooks, His flays are perfect. The boxes are right on. They're going to grab this mid tower, but it's going to be their first tower of the game. You know, it's just going to be a little sprinkle of gold for red side. They have an Oracles, and I don't think that a Desperation Baron is a good idea, but it looks like they might just group up and push turrets right now.
Yeah, and if you look at the items, it kind of tells a lot of the story. Varus having, a pickaxe, an Infinity Edge, and a whole Blade of the Ruined King on top of Ash. Vladimir with Spirit Visage Revolver and Hourglass is just all of my nightmares at once. Just the Squirrel Squad had a really good team fight there in terms of like positioning, ability usage, but it just came down to that raw 10k gold advantage, and here's another combo.
Yeah, they're coming in here. Uncle Sam's going to drop it immediately. Cripple is going to try to pull out of this one, but he's going to go down. No Zonias, and there's the Varus disengage. They got caught out a little bit by the Ash Arrow hitting them at the turret. Really, really ruined their day because they thought that it was time to just group and push, and the Wombo combo actually came in from the other side, and the Squirtle Squad took them down.
Yeah, you really have to be careful about who's in front. Nunu is kind of the only tank on the side of Los Combos Wombos. Hourglass not really used by Vladimir. I guess he didn't think it would help. Wow, Death Sentence onto Sejuani, Blade of the Ruined King active, and that's totally cleaned up. Thresh says, I'm going to take that one. I'm going to get the red buff. You don't need it, Varus. I do what I want.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a good time to Hourglass, but I don't think it would have actually saved his life. It would have just delayed them a little bit longer, and it looks like they're going to go for a Baron right now. We have a 3-man Baron going on. Jace is going to see it with the Shock Blast. They have a ward over the wall. I mean, Boardman's not taking a lot of damage, but here comes Red Side as Talon goes to zone them.
Ooh.
They're actually getting kind of low right now, and this is very dangerous for Los Combos Wombos. They need to get out of there and disengage from this Baron right now.
Seems like they're having a little bit of mixed signals here, deciding whether or not they need to do. Rumble goes in with the Equalizer, and so does Jace. Talon picks it up, but they are standing on the full Equalizer here. Jace picking that one up.
Varus is still alive on the backside of this. Vladimir coming in. Sejuani finally joining the fight. They didn't have a smite up. That's why they wanted the Baron. Talon got the kill, but there goes Ash. And here goes the Boar and the Mermaid going down for an ace. And I was really worried at that fight right there. I'm surprised Los Combos Wombos actually pulled that out because they were so low. But Talon picked up the Baron, and they continued to fight after that, which was 4v5. And Sejuani was just a little too late to the fight.
Yeah, man, Varus, really amazing play and positioning out of this guy. But I'm just, maybe it's my own personal bias as a top lane player, but I'm so scared of this Vladimir right now. He's just not being touched, pumping out tons of consistent damage, landing, didn't even use his Hemoplague in that fight. Like, that's how one-sided the gold advantage is here. And Uncle Sam on Talon is really just kind of dive bombing. That's what you do at a certain point in the game with Talon. You just decide, I'm going to go in, dump all of my abilities, and people are going to die. Even if I die too, that's probably going to be okay. But this Varus now, 2,200 gold in the bank. That's going to be a Last Whisper and the beginning of his next item. He really seems unstoppable here. Highest farm in the game, only slightly ahead of Vladimir. 16,000 gold lead here at 26 minutes into the game.
Yeah, this game is really in the hands of Los Combos Wombos to lose it for them. I mean, they have the Baron buff right now on 4 people, I believe. Varus, very confident in his positioning, grabbed not a defensive item as his 4th item, but instead grabbed a Zeal and probably going to go into the Phantom Dancer, I would assume, to couple the single target damage. I mean, once you drop a Blade of the Ruined King, along with your Hail of Arrows, I mean, you can pretty much combo anybody down 100% slow, and it's just game over for them. So it looks like right now they're going to transition to the bottom lane. They have a pink ward up as 909101, which we've affectionately known as Thresh this game, is going to control the vision, group up bottom, and they just need to be very careful that they're not under the tower when the Ash Arrow comes in. I think they can handle an Ash Arrow as long as Nunu's up front taking the brunt of it, or Vladimir, as long as they're not just eating free tower shots and then a tidal wave in a combination.
Nunu's being such a bully right now. It takes an accelerated shock blast to the face as the Glacial Prism goes out. The combo is there, And Aqua Prison onto Varus, who's standing directly in the Equalizer pit. He's dead. They could lose this fight.
Yeah, it looks like the Thresh Hook's going to come in, though. They're going to pick up another kill. Thresh grabbing that one all by himself at the end of that. And we still have Talon alive. Going to finish off the tower. And instead, it's going to be a 4-for-3 exchange. They got the Varus down so quickly. It was a perfect combination. But now it's just Ashe all alone with her support to try and stop them pushing in. But there's going to be her death. They're going to be able to close this game out right here. Because, I mean, the Vlad-Talon combination, all Nami's going to do is just feed Talon some sushi right now, because she's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Let's see. Sejuani's up now. Sejuani might be able to come in, but they are probably just too tanky. Another amazing death sentence coming in, and Nami actually dying to Vladimir. Man, yeah, this is going to be a really convincing game. 24-8, 20,000 gold advantage. They're just going to ignore the Squirrel Squad and go straight for the Nexus.
I feel like if they had grouped up a little bit sooner on the Squirtle Squad, that they would have had a great chance, because their team fighting was actually pretty good. We saw it in the mid lane. We saw it down bottom right there where they annihilated the AD carry right off the bat. And they actually had a really good exchange for being down by 15,000 gold and an inhibitor and a Baron buff on 3 teammates. I mean, they did a good job comboing it, but they could only do it on the super defensive, on their inhibitor turrets, and they weren't able to do that in the open game to really turn the tides of that mid game.